Hi, this is Kim White with the My Sexy Business team. I am here with my co-host,
Coni Meyers with Kick Butt Leadership.
And we are at the Hope to Hope conference. It has been already a spectacular day and a half. It hasn't even been 2 days.
Yeah, I know. We're not even halfway yet, and it's just getting warmed up.
We're just in awe of our peeps that we get to hang out with.
I think so amazing.
That's the part that's so awesome. And our next guest is no less than all the rest. I'm telling you, she is amazing herself in her own right. She is actually coming to us from New Zealand today. She is bright and early, got up very early to participate with us, which I want to acknowledge that she sacrificed to be up at before dawn so that she could be on with us today. Welcome, Cyndilu Miller.
Thank you very much, Kim. It's a pleasure to be here. And yes, it is still dark 30 outside, as we call it. And the sun is not yet up because we are in winter here. So we're still in the shorter days of the year. So the sun is still another hour or so from being up.
Wow.
I think I need to come visit now because we're in like 112 heat warnings and it's hot here, very hot. And my hair is showing the humidity because I have to keep going in between every session and combing it back down.
and I'm just getting curlier and curlier.
And I'm trying to fluff mine this morning. I'm like, get up there.
Hey, Christy Garcia, she's joining us. Cyndilu, I don't really have a proper introduction for you as far as I know what you're doing, but I'm not sure what you want the world to know yet. I do know that you are creating some amazing things, and they're coming to bless a lot of people. But can we go to the backstory first? Can we talk about like where you came from and why what you're doing now is so important?
Wow. Well, I've come through many, many traumas. Many sexual abuse as a child, right on up through to murder attempt on my life, to which he would call probably just an assault. But when somebody's choking you and you're crying out to God for them to stop, that to me is a murder attempt.
Yeah.
Being the one that lived through it, I felt like that's what, and then the loss of a child because of that. And then got married to a man that I felt like would be safe. And he was extremely safe as far as physically, but emotionally so detached. And I didn't know at the time that he struggled with that, an emotional attachment. So after 17 years of being married, we had a house fire. And when that house fire happened, we were thrust into the public eye.
Mm-hmm.
And I was asked if my husband ever talked to his children. And I realized that 3 people asked me that in 2 weeks. And I was like, whoa, okay, wait, God, are you talking to me? Are you like saying something here? And I was like, he did talk to them. He talked to them as much as he was able. He's a wonderful man. So if anybody's watching this who, I don't hold anything against him. I appreciate him and he's amazing. But the 2 of us together were suicidal. Mm-hmm. We wanted to be anything but with one another. And it was because we were so different. We both loved the Lord. When they talk about equally yoked, it's not always that you both just love God. Mm-hmm. It's how do you look at life? What do you enjoy doing? And you don't have to like all of the same things, but you have to have enough in common that you don't feel like you're hiding yourself the whole time. So I found myself 3 years later, completely divorced. And in that 3 years in between, I went on a journey to figure out who I was, because I'd always been so-and-so's wife or so-and-so's mother, or, I worked here or I did that. But I had no belief for myself. I had no idea who I was. And partly because of the abortion, I had given up my emotional state and I had shut myself down for 14 years. I was 100% shut down and didn't know it. I found myself in a 5-year depression where I didn't get off the couch except to feed the kids and then back to the couch. And I found out that I had post-traumatic stress disorder. And I went through the journey of healing for that, which was a good 5 years of healing, you know, the whole time of the depression and coming back. And I used personalities tests and tests, you know, like what should I do for a career, like career tests, everything, skills tests, everything. I didn't know who I was at all. Zero attachment to who I was, what I believed, and what I wanted. The only thing that I had, and I had it all the way through from a 4-year-old on up through, I remember at 4 years old, catching a hold of God and the love of God. And I did carry that through. And that is what carried me through all of this. Even when I was running in the opposite direction and wanted anything but to be with God, I still trusted that He had me. So, and I know not everybody is, you know, looking at God, but it's okay. There's hope in other ways, even if it's not God. There's hope in friends. It was a friend who came alongside, who walked with me every single day after the first relationship broke up because of the guy trying to kill me. I literally had a friend who came alongside, and every single day she came to my house and she ate with me. And then once I got to the point where I could get up and go to her house, I would go over every day. And there were days that she just held me, and she was just a mama to me. And sometimes we need that in our lives. We need exactly that. Someone who comes alongside and holds us and tells us we're going to be okay. Just loves on us.
I think we need that no matter what age we are. Like, that's one of the things that touches a chord with me. And I'm 51, but I still to this day feel that. Like, I feel that even when I do these conferences, I am pretty raw afterwards because I've talked about my son enough, and I've brought up things from the past because I also am all in. You know, I'm all in the entire conference. And I feel that way. I get melty. And having someone to come alongside you and just be there, they don't have to have any words to tell you. They don't have to have anything, but just knowing that you're not alone and someone is in your space with you is a really big deal. And I just want to make the point that it doesn't matter at what age you are. If you're feeling that way and you're listening right now, you know, that is one of the things that we're trying to open the door for, even connections on this conference, so that you don't have to stay there. You don't have to stay in that spot of feeling alone. There are, you know, people out there who will come along and be that. Like, they might not be your mama for real. They may not be the one that raised you. They may be a friend, or they may be, you know, a sibling sometimes, or they may be someone that, and I will tell you, the online space has done wonders for letting people get connected long distance, because I've had friends who were online that ministered life to me, like really blessed me. And we weren't in the same building or the same house. We were on, you know, like a Zoom call, or we were on a private thing where we could Skype or Messenger, or, you know, one of the things. So I don't think that we should make, like, I just wanted to take a minute. I guess I'm sorry. I'm stumbling over my words because I just don't want to leave anybody behind in that thought that it doesn't matter how old you are. We all need to be accepted. We all need to be loved on. And we all need someone or someone's, whichever, to just listen to us.
Kim, I think that's a really good point because you're the age of my son, and I'm a lot older. So, and you always, I don't care how old you are, you need people, especially certain times. I mean, you really need to reach out to somebody and say, hey, I need you.
Yes. I had a prayer partner who, in that 5-year depression time, which happened because the next child that would have been home, so my first 2 children moved out of the home, and the next one that would have been there was the missing child. And my spirit was still crying out, wanting to hold that baby. But I didn't know why. I didn't know why all of a sudden I curled up on the couch and couldn't move, couldn't deal with daily life. I mean, I would go to work, I would come home. I lost a job during that time. Well, not quite. I resigned at the same time they were going to fire me. So, but I resigned before, the day before. It's like, yeah, I need to get done because I am not in a place where I can deal with this. And I need to have more flexibility in my job, and I need to have a place where I can have my kids with me if I need it. So I switched jobs. I went to a very part-time job, working in a home with pregnant and parenting teens.
Oh, wow.
So I was helping the very people that I was when I lost this baby. It's so funny how that happens in life often. I don't know where I was going with this.
Well, I think that people that are listening, though, are, and I know I am, I'm appreciative of the fact that you are willing to share such vulnerable spots and such, raw spots is what I call them, because it still is an emotional thing. I mean, I can sit here with a smile on my face and my lipstick and, and be excited about the conference. Exactly. But I'm going to tell you, I still miss my son. I choose to celebrate him. I choose to serve, but I still miss him. I would love for him to come, back. I would love to rewind and not have that happen. So I don't want to give an illusion of myself either, that I just suddenly was just peachy with everything. This has been a long, almost 17-year process of getting to this point. That's the real reason behind the conference is there's a lot of people like you and I. There's a lot of people who are hurting that need to figure out how to make it through.
Well, and that's why I call my book, Meeting Cheryl Elizabeth, A Healing Journey, because it's a journey. It's not over in a day. Mm-hmm. It takes time, and you go through things. And I know what I was going to say before. I was talking about people who come alongside, and I had a prayer partner at that time in my life who came alongside and did the same thing for me that happened, back years ago before I got married the first time. I had somebody come alongside way back then after the abortion. And then again, when I crashed because that baby was missing, there was somebody that was there for me, who sat with me, who held me, who did the things that needed to happen for that healing. And sometimes we need somebody who's just willing to sit with us. Exactly what you were saying earlier. And who's willing to see us for who we are. Mm-hmm. And not what we did.
Yes.
And words and no words even need to be expressed. Just be there.
That's right. Yeah.
I think that's really, it's a profound thing when you can understand that you don't need to attract people who are going to be judgmental. You need to attract people who are actually going to come alongside. I I actually, and I don't want to get like all philosophical on everybody, but I will tell you, coming alongside is a term called paraclete, and it's something that they're not doing it for you; they're doing it with you.
With you.
And when someone comes alongside, like Cyndilu's talking about, that is a huge, it's a huge relief, because all of a sudden you're not alone in your space. You're not on this journey that you don't even know what you don't know. You don't know where it's going to take you. You don't know how it's going to come to an end, or if it ever will come to an end. And they come alongside you, not with all the answers, not with all of the directions that you need for your life, but they come alongside you and say, you know what? You're okay just like you are. Messy, hot mess. I'm a hot mess. You know, you have someone who comes alongside you and they love you as is. And I think that is a great, like, I love that you use that word or that term, because that's what we all need in our life, is someone to come alongside and love our messy selves. But
yeah,
I'd like to get a qualifier for that, though, is
what's that?
we have to be willing to allow them to see the messes, or they can't come alongside us. A lot of times we block those people we need the most in our lives because we don't allow them to see, for fear. Most of the time it's for fear. We don't allow them to see our real selves because we have this, thing that plays in our head that they won't like us, or they won't accept us, or they won't be with us. And we have to get past that in ourselves so that we can allow someone into our life to love us that way.
The other piece of that is that I believe, and it comes down to what I'm creating now, which is mindset reset kind of things and purposeful thinking. And we often have stories in our head as to why somebody's doing what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So the husband I'm married to now, the man I'm married to now, my beloved, I call him my beloved. That's his term, coming alongside. And he used that with me. I want to come alongside you, before we were even thinking about getting married. And I didn't understand what that meant. And so he was the first one who ever came alongside. And he helped me see that I was worth something, just as I was. And I wasn't perfect. And if I started to put myself down, he would say, nope, stop it. Nope, you can't go there. You can't do that. No, not listening to it. And he would listen for hours, and he would just be there on the other end of the phone, and he would fall asleep on the phone. And I would be like, hey, hello, Robert. What? I was like, did you fall asleep? I was like, he's like, no. So you really don't even, his commitment was to be there. And he was working third shift, so he would fall asleep sometimes when we were talking, but it was okay. It actually made him a bit more endearing to me and a little more intriguing. But he has a gift now. He has Parkinson's, and so he isn't able to be out doing what he'd like to do. But he has a gift for coming alongside people. And he's doing that through the online thing. So even if people wanted to connect with me in order to get to him, to have somebody that's just willing to listen, has all the time in the world to listen, and, will do chat messages with you, whatever. If you truly need somebody to come alongside you, he's there, and he's willing to do that.
That is such a gift.
That is a gift. Sure.
Yeah, it's a gift to you to begin with, but what
a gift to me.
Gift that he shares that and you share that.
Yeah. So, and that's one of the things. He's like, what am I supposed to do with life? I said, honey, you do it. You do it naturally. Just be that. Be that person for people. It gives purpose.
I think that's another thing I want to just stop and say, though, that if anyone's listening and they're in that hard spot and they feel alone and they don't know how to reach out to someone, or they don't know how to start a relationship like that with with anyone in their life already, because a lot of times we're surrounded by people that can't come alongside. Like, one, we can't let them. They're not good for us, maybe. And the other is they don't understand what to do, or they don't understand how to come alongside either. So I think that if you're listening and you do have that going on, what an amazing gift that Cyndilu and her husband are willing to gift you time, gift you time to connect. And so I think anyone listening that feels that way should really reach out. You can message me, you can message Miss Connie, you can message Cyndilu, and we'll get you connected, because that no one should be alone.
No.
I just feel like that is one of the worst punishments in the whole world, is to be alone.
And the most precious gift you can give is your time.
Yeah. And getting back to when we would first start talking. So when we first got married, because this man came alongside in such a way that, of course, I wanted to marry him. Like within 3 months, I wanted to marry him. It took me another 6 months to convince him, or 3 months. Yeah, about 6 months to convince him, but that's okay. He caught on eventually. And so,
love it.
What would happen was he would ask me a question. And because in previous relationships, when people would ask me a question, they were questioning to accuse. Every time he'd ask me a question, I would raise up, and I would be so fearful, and I'd be so full of fear. When I realized, and I'm partly saying this so that if anybody does connect with him, he's going to ask you a lot of questions. But he wants to get to know you. He wants to hear you. He wants to see you. He wants to help you come out of hiding. And that's one of the things that I'm realizing by my putting the book out, which I've just put out now for pre-orders this week. I can't believe it's finally out there. I'm like, but it's my coming out of hiding. It's another step of the healing process for me. And yes, being willing to come out of hiding and say, okay, I mean, I talk about on my Facebook page, I've been saying I've been living out loud for years, but I've been living out loud quietly.
I love that.
And behind the closet door. So now I've come out of the closet, so to say, and this interview is my coming out of the closet interview, by the way. This is the first one that I have done. So thank you, Kim, for being my outer.
I love that. I'm a princess outer. I love that. Well, the funniest thing is the first Hope to Hope, that wasn't even Hope to Hope then, but the first conference I'd started with this in mind. The people that I had on, there were 24 guests, and all 24 of them had never been online before. Like, they had never done it, and they all said about what you just said. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm going online to do anything. And the funny thing is all of them are now doing all kinds of things. Like, it broke that thing.
I've been online for years, but I have not been fully online. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've been there, but just dabbling. The time is now.
Congratulations on your book, but I am more even want to congratulate you more for coming out and letting people in. Because, that's the thing, is that closet door doesn't really keep, what you think it is out. You need to let people in. When you come out, it's really to let people in.
Yeah,
it's really the opposite of what we think. So thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
I think your story is so powerful. Like, there's so many bits that, we're out of time again. This is the one thing I don't like about the conference is, we run out of time. I think we just started, and I look at the clock and I'm like, oh my goodness. But you have your book that they can connect with you to get and learn more. And then also they have the ability to contact you, and you will get them in contact with your husband, who both of you are amazing.
And if they need mindset shift stuff, then that's me, and personalities and figuring out who you are, strategizing for your life.
I think this is just the beginning, Cyndilu. I think we need to do like another interview, like outside the conference.
I'm feeling that too.
Learn how to find out who they are. Because I'll be honest, at 51, I can tell you, like, without any hesitation, I'm a princess, and I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I know, but I also had a time in my life that I couldn't have told you any of that.
Yes.
And so I think what you're doing is an incredible mission to help people be able to find their own selves again.
And their voice. Find their voice again.
And I love that. Part of it. The voices, like, and we're going to have to, like, not even open that can of worms yet, but I want to do that. I really would like to do that on another thing outside the Hope to Hope conference. I would love to facilitate something with you along that line, because finding your voice, like learning who you are and finding your voice, changes everything.
I didn't find my voice. I'm going to be 70 this year, and I didn't find my voice until 7 years ago. So
so for people who think it's too late, it's not.
If you don't feel like you have your voice.
Well, Cyndilu, thank you so much. And thank you for getting up before dark 30 to come and be with us.
It's still dark 30.
And I hope that we can work out a time where it's like not so hard on you, but where we can continue some of that conversation outside this conference, because I do feel like there's so much more that we need to be talking about, but time is just restricting us right now. But thank you so much for coming on, and we'll put a link in the comments of how they can reach you.
Thank you for giving this platform and for helping to reach people with hope that are feeling hopeless, because it's a real struggle.
Yes,
the struggle is real, but the hope is possible, and the dreaming again.
Totally.
That's right. So thank you, Cyndilu.
Thank you so much for an incredible conversation.
You're welcome. Thank you, Coni.
Oops.
Go ahead.
I said, I'm Coni Meyers, and I'm the co-host and I have Kick Butt Leadership.
You don't even know
anymore.
At this point, I'm Kim White with the My Sexy Business team, and we thank you for being on the Hope to Hope conference. We will be back at 2:30? No, 3. We'll be back at 3 Central Standard Time. We don't even know. We'll be back at 3 Central Standard Time. And be watching, because I really do intend to get Cyndilu back in on my page, and we'll be doing something soon. So love you guys. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you in the next session.